Okay, I guess we're gonna test this out. I'm kind of nervous. I'm kind of excited. Should I sit on this pillow? Does that make me like higher up? Is that better? I don't really know. Okay. Why am I nervous? It's literally like whatever. Anyways, hey Scouts, welcome back to my channel. So today, by the title, we are obviously doing a sit down video talking about being single in your 20s. Yeah, you guys always ask me questions on this, and I have always a lot and nothing to say at the same time because it's just like it is what it is. I guess, yeah, so we're gonna really just get into my personal non-existent dating life, but that's okay. If I don't laugh, I'm gonna cry, so just laugh with me, guys. Okay, just let me. There's probably gonna be a lot of cuts too, because I'm really trying to collect my thoughts. Also, I kind of switched up the, I guess the setup. I wanted to give you guys more like views of my space and all that. So let me know if you like it like this. We're just gonna just jump into it. I'm not gonna really overthink this, even though that's in my nature and that's just what I do. So I guess we'll start off with like my dating history, or should I say lack of dating history. Yeah, it's it's been a long time coming. No, so I'm 25 now. If you guys don't know, everyone thinks I'm so young. I mean, okay, I guess that is young, but like to me, I'm almost 30, and my friends remind me that I'm almost 30. So it's really just like, oh, okay. But yeah, I'm 25 and I'm turning 26 this year, which, don't talk to me about it. Also, I feel like I'm not that old, but like I feel younger than I am, which I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Probably a bad thing. Yeah, so I'm 25. My dating experience is, like I said, non-existent. I've never had a boyfriend, and I know this comes to a shocker to a lot of people. I always get that. It's like, how? Um, you're asking me. I don't know how either. I mean, I do know how, but yeah, I've never been in a relationship. I've never been with anyone like physically, anything like that. Everyone always asks me, and I just like, yeah. I mean, yeah, I feel like it's always a subject that comes to, I don't know how it comes to like this, but it always does with people. So, yeah. I don't know if that's unfortunate. Well, it is for me. Guys, I'm telling you, I'm just gonna laugh because it really, I'm trying not to like crash out. I've been crashing out though, but it's okay. My dating history, I actually really I don't have any. Like other than like minimal talking stages for like a couple, like the longest talking stage I had I think was like a few months, and that was like when I was 20 years old. Other than that, like the talking stages, I wouldn't even call them that. But yeah, my dating experience is literally non-existent. Like there's nothing there. Don't really, yeah. So I guess we'll get like, I'm like, let's get comfortable and really just get into this, just deep dive into all my issues. Yeah, so I never, guys, also, you have to take in mind, when I was like in middle school and high school and stuff, I was very awkward, and I was like not like, I just didn't like fit in. I was so weird. I had my awkward years, which I feel like everyone does, or you like peak, and then yeah, I just didn't peak until like 12th grade, like halfway through, I think 11th grade, 12th grade ish. And so like I was so used to like not getting any like male attention at all. And then I started kind of getting some in like 11th grade, but it wasn't like crazy. And like it was never like no one was ever pursuing me. It was just like, okay, like she's pretty, blah blah blah, that's it. And I wasn't used to it, like because guys, growing up and being bullied for your looks and like never having like anyone ever interested in you really messes with your mind. It still does, like to this day. Like I'm 25 and I'm like, oh, so like these insecurities never went away? Okay, cool. But yeah, you have to take that, like keep that in mind, is like you, like I didn't fit into like beauty standards, like, and I put this in quotations, like society's beauty standards, like when I was like, but like even like sometimes now I feel like I don't, like I get compliments, but I'm like, I don't believe it. So yeah, just like growing up, it was really different. Like I just didn't, I wasn't, no guys were ever really interested in me like that. And I feel like it messes with you when you're like an adult. I don't know if it's just me or not, but yeah, so now I'm like, I feel like I have like all these extra insecurities, and I'm like, oh, so like this really affected me. Clearly. No, I definitely have gotten a lot better now that I'm like older. I'm like very secure within myself. Don't get me wrong, I still have a lot of insecurities. Like, I just like try to push them to the side though, because it's not everyone has them. Like, the most beautiful person in the world has them. So I just don't really like to harp on them, I guess. But yeah, so no dating experience. I guess my first talking stage was when I was 20, and so that was almost, that was 5 years ago. 5, 6 years ago, almost. I think. No, 5 years ago. Yes, that was 5 years ago. My math is not mathing. Yeah, that was 5 years ago, and I actually, it was such a weird guy. I'm really going into this. That was such a weird time too, because it was like the first guy that actually showed interest in me, and he actually found me online. Like, it was like when TikTok was first going off, and like that's like normal now, is like meeting people online through like social media and stuff. It's just like a kind of a known thing, but it was like very new at the time. Like, I was kind of like, ooh, like, this is kind of weird. But yeah, he found me on social media, and he followed me on Instagram and TikTok and all that. Anyways, he lived in Canada but not in like the same area as me, and it was really like, I was talking to him for maybe like not like a couple weeks, and then he lived in oh my god, I'm really going through this. He lived in Toronto, and so I was going to Toronto with my parents to see my grandma and stuff, and my cousin. And so I was like, oh my god, this is like the perfect time. Like, I'm gonna meet up with this guy. Also, this is like this sounds so bad, but like, we were Snapchatting and stuff, so I was like, oh, he's real. I don't know if I'm like, would I do this now? Probably, but like, if you hear this story, it sounds like, oh, she's so stupid. She will like get herself like kidnapped. But yeah, so I met up with him, and guys, I was like fresh, like I was like, I'd never been on a date with any, I don't even like consider this a date, but like, I never been on a date with anyone, never met up with a guy like one-on-one. I never, also, this was a stranger, so I was so scared. But anyways, I met up with him, whatever. It was so awkward. I didn't know what to say. He was asking me like most of the questions, to be honest. Also, it was just so weird and awkward. I was shaking. I have this thing that I do that I like have such bad anxiety, and like when I'm aware that I like you, I will get so nervous that I'll start shaking. So I was shaking, and he noticed. Also, he called me out on that, but whatever. It's so funny to talk about now, because I'm like, oh, that was like, I was such a baby then, and like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still kind of like that, but I think that's still my lack of experience. But yeah, I met up with him, and then he actually ended up being my first kiss, which it was such a bad kiss, guys. It was literally like a fish kiss. Like, it felt like imagine like, so I don't know, imagine like you're in 5th grade and you're like kissing someone. Like, it was like that. It was just not it, and it was just weird. Anyways, so we were talking, but he was giving really mixed signals and all that, as men usually do. Yeah, so anyways, he ended up getting a girlfriend while we were talking. What? Like, talk. And then I found out through social media, like, I was still talking to him, and I found out through social media that he had a girlfriend, because he literally posted her on his story. Like, are you dumb? And then I found out literally a day before my 21st birthday. Talk about timing. And he wished me happy birthday, and I just didn't respond. And he's like, did I do something wrong? I'm like, sir, what? You literally have a girlfriend. I'm really just like, I love exposing myself now, because I'm like, whatever. Yeah, so that was the first, and I would say that was like my first and only talking stage. Also, that was my first kiss, and that has been my only kiss in my life. Yeah, that has been the only kiss I've had in my entire life. That's really unfortunate. Yeah, so that was like my first talking stage. Like I said, it lasted a few months, and I was like heartbroken, but looking back, I was like, it was not heartbreak, but it felt like it at the time, and I was just like, so like, oh my god. After that, like, I just took like a big gap from like then to now. Yeah, I'm like, I took a huge gap. Yeah, honestly, I just like, after that, I just was so uninterested. It also took me so long to get over this guy that I never dated. because he just like really love bombed the fuck out of me. Like he was like, guys, also I fed into all like the things he was telling me, which you usually do. So anyways, there was just so much stuff that happened within that like talking stage, and like I now looking back, I was like, girl, are you okay? But it was because I was so like naive, right, at the time, and I just was like so excited that someone was showing interest in me, because I had never had that before. I guess like after that I never really had any talking stages at all. I never also it was like that was during COVID, I believe, and COVID lasted 2 years, right? I'm like, the timeline I just don't understand. And I just like wasn't leaving my house that often, and like I just like didn't really care. After that I didn't really care about boys, and I just like was not interested. I was like, I hate the world, like all men suck, like whatever. I just like didn't care. After I'm like thinking what else. I don't have a dating history, that's the thing. I just have a lot of people I used to like, and then we're talking stages, and it just, and when I say stages, I don't even, there's not that many. So after that I just kind of like swore off everything. I was like, I don't care, I'm gonna focus on myself. But yeah, so that happened, and then I just had like, I feel like crushes after that. Like it was just like not, I just never left the house, so there was like no opportunity or anything for me to like even meet anyone anyways. I don't like online dating, like that's just not my thing, and like life was just so busy at the time that I just didn't really care about like finding anyone, and I was just kind of focused on like my YouTube and my career and kind of like figuring things out with that. So I just like didn't really have boys on my mind after him, and I just like didn't care. I was doing my own thing, and then I had life problems happen to me 2 years after that. Like a few years, I'm like thinking, and then I had like shit happens, life happens, and then it's just like not in the timeline. But yeah, it really messes with your mind when like it makes you feel like you're just like not good enough, which is just so stupid. But like, unfortunately, boys have the tendency to make you feel like that. I haven't been on a date. I haven't been on a date actually, like a proper date I haven't really been on. And then I'm trying to think of the last talking stage. This was like a few months ago, and I wouldn't even count it, to be honest, guys. It was like this guy that I went to high school with, and then he messaged me like a few months ago, after we weren't talking, and I was like, oh, like I'll just meet up with him to see like what's the vibe. Like I wasn't interested in him like that at all. Like I just wanted to like catch up with like an old friend and all that. But it was kind of like, oh, are we catching up as friends, or like what is this? But like keep in mind, guys, like I was just like, for the plot. That's so bad to say though, it's like for the plot, but it really was. I was just like, oh, whatever, like what's gonna happen, what's the worst thing that could happen? So then I went. It was just like whatever. Also I was like, oh, do I go out with him? Like I'm like, he's like, oh, I'll take you on a date, and I was just like, oh, I'm so bored, like I'm like, why not? Like I'm like, do I have anything to do? No, this is so bad, guys, but like honestly, at this, I'm like, 20s, I was in my head though, I was like, 20s are supposed to be fun, and like you're supposed to have experience, and like, you know, go on dates and all these things. This is what, also I feel like I watched so many movies that I'm like, this is giving me false advertisement on life in your 20s. But I was like, okay, whatever, like what, like I said, what's the worst that could happen? So the day of the date comes, and he hasn't set up anything. There's no time, there's no place, there's nothing. Like there is nothing, guys. And so also I was like, I just had a gut feeling. I was like, I'm not interested in this guy. Why am I putting in effort? And I know I don't like him. I was like, I don't like him. I'm not attracted. Like, I was like, I just don't like him. I was like, why am I forcing this? Because I'm bored. Like, what am I doing? Like, this is just so stupid. I was like, okay. I said, if I'm not meant to, like, I said, please. And at this point, I was like, honestly praying that he didn't text me. I said, please. I was like, asking, I was like, please, if this is not meant to be, like, please have him not text me. Like, don't text me, don't text me, don't text me. And I was like repeating this over and over again, and he didn't text me all day. He hasn't even texted me. At this point, it's been like almost 10 hours. I get a text from him, and he's like, oh, like, do you want to, like, he's like, let's go here. I'm like, bro, I just didn't respond to him, because I was like, this bum literally left me undelivered for over 10 hours. Okay, everyone, I'm like, it's, guys, everyone's on their phone nowadays. Like, it's just so stupid. The cherry on top of this is he asked me to pick him up. He asked me, he's like, are you ready to go? Can you pick me up? Oh, I was like, Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Anyways, now I can just laugh about it. But he was like, "You're playing games." And I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." But yeah, I think it was just so, it's just, now it's so funny. I'm like, that was really for the plot though. Because now I can just laugh about it with my friends. And we're like, oh my God. Yeah, so that was like the most recent one. But now you guys have my history, my, like I said, my lack of history in dating. I always get this question is like, why are you like, it must be your personality because it's not your face, which is such a backhanded compliment because, like, okay, thanks. I guess you think I'm attractive, but also that's so rude. Like, you think it's my personality the reason that I'm single. No. What if it's just you guys? What if it's just, it is the men? It's all of you. Like, I'm sorry, not all of you. Let me not put you guys all in a bracket, but honestly, like, the way I've talked to guys and I'm like, oh my God, like, even like friends, I'm like, this is how you guys think? This is so sad. Like, you're actually intellectually immature. It's so crazy. I don't know. I just like haven't, I always say like I haven't found my person and that's the reason I'm single. But then I'm like, oh, is it because I don't put myself out there? But I do to an extent. I mean, I also feel like nowadays guys want girls to be putting in and like all the initial effort and like all this stuff. And it's like, what happened to men actually like putting in the work? Like, I didn't realize that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I feel like it should be a 50-50 like effort there, but like also if I'm the one putting in all the work and you're not putting in anything, sir, what is going on? I hold myself to a very like high level of like self-respect, but also like a high standard for like not only myself but for like a significant other. Like, if I'm dating a guy, I like, I have A B C D E F G, like I have these things that I want. Like, I don't expect you to act a certain way. I always say this, I don't have expectations, but I have standards, because for me it's kind of like I see you for who you are. And the thing is with people is like, I can see this person and like, this is who you are, I can accept it, or, you know, I can go. So for me it's like, if I see you for who you are and like I'm willing to, and I like obviously no one's gonna check off every single box, that's not realistic. Like, no relationship is gonna be perfect, but I just don't think people are putting in the effort anymore. Yeah, I just don't think anyone, there's no more gentlemen out there. I'm like, ew, what? Honestly, love is dead. No, I'm just kidding. I just, no one puts in the effort. Also, I feel like social media makes dating now so hard. It's just like, there's so many expectations on social media, and social media is fake. Like, people do not realize that people only post the highlights of their lives on social media, and you are comparing relationships on there to like your day-to-day. Like, are you okay? Everyone's so out of touch now, and it's crazy. And I feel like because social media, there's like so many options, and I say that like that because it's like, people think that you can actually like attain these people. These people are literally half across the world. I mean, is it impossible? No. It obviously there's so many people who are successful online, but like also like for you to be comparing these women and relationships and like men even online to like real life is just crazy to me. Like, everyone is different. Everyone has their own lives. You're watching these people on a screen and you know nothing about them, and yet you want, like, it's just like crazy to me. And I don't know if it's because like I do social media that I like see and I'm aware of like the behind the scenes and everything, but I'm just like, I just don't understand. Like, I don't understand. And obviously like it's so romanticized online, like people's relationships, but it's like, they're not going to post their fights online. They're not going to post like their struggles and all this. So I just think like social media honestly has killed like romance and love and like honestly just like people's true intentions. And I just hate it. And also, hookup culture has become such a huge thing. I hate it. Like I said, I have standards, and like no one who I've talked to has like met up to these standards. Also, like when you get older, you just like, I have like this no bullshit thing now. Like, I hate the nonchalant business. I'm just like, and also like I understand like in dating and first like when you're talking to someone, there is like, you have to like play the game a little bit. Like, it's just a thing. Unfortunately, that's just how it works. Like, you can't show interest right away. Like, it's just like not a thing. But for me, I'm just like, if I think you're attractive or I like you, I'm just gonna, you know, I'm like, do I tell you? I'm getting a little bit better at it, but unfortunately rejection is a thing that I'm actually afraid of, and I'm trying to overcome it. Do I talk about what happened recently? Maybe we'll get to it eventually. Maybe if I'm feeling a little bit, like there was an event that occurred recently that has me really crashing out lately for the past week. So yeah, I just I don't know, dating's so weird, guys, and I say that so lightly because I don't even know what the dating scene is like. I feel like also being in your 20s and never actually date is so weird, and it also makes it so awkward. I'm also really socially awkward, so for me to have a conversation with a man that I'm attracted to, oh my god, it's actually embarrassing, you guys. Okay, I guess I'll get into the story. So I oh my god. Okay, so I've been going back and forth with going up to this guy that I see all the time. I don't know him. I don't know. I just see him, but I don't know him. I didn't know his name. I didn't know any of this. Anyway, so I took the chance and I went up to him, and guys, oh my god. I feel also going up to someone is the most embarrassing thing I think ever. I absolutely, it's the most embarrassing thing ever. I feel so vulnerable. I'm putting myself on the spot. I don't know how. I understand why men are scared to go up to women, because as a woman going up to a man, that is the scariest thing. And add my anxiety on top of that, oh my god. And like I said, guys, I have this thing where I literally start to shake. My anxiety gets so bad that my hands will shake. So yeah, I just I went up to this man, and I just, guys, I'm also a nervous yapper, and I'll start stumbling, and it's so embarrassing. I'm I swear I'm not like this. I swear I'm sometimes like that, but I swear I'm a normal-ish person. We exchanged contact information, but as I was shaking, guys, and I know he saw it, and it's just yeah, I hate it. I'm ew, the fact, ew, I'm putting myself out there is actually so embarrassing. But I do it anyways. I'm do it for the plot. Also, life's so short. Who cares? What's the worst thing that can happen? Him reject me? Ugh, whatever. And also, I'm oh, if he rejects me, it is his loss. I try. See, I'd say that, but then I start to crash out, and then I'm oh my god, what's wrong with me? I have these moments where I'm oh, I'm so confident, and I'm anyone would be lucky to be with me. And there's moments where I'm what's wrong with me? But I think that's just a part of being I'm just a girl. I saw this one thing on TikTok. It was what is it when you find a man attractive and you're oh, it was this comment was ovulation. I was oh my god, that's so true. Yes. Guys, it's so embarrassing going up to a man, but I did it. And now it has me crashing out because I was I should have just left it. But also, who cares? Am I going to see this person? Sure. Do I care? Maybe a little bit. But also, life moves on and I don't really care. But I hate who I become when I like someone. And also, when I have a crush and if I'm talking to someone, oh my god, I feel I become the most insecure person ever, which I'm I have my moments, like I said, but I'm also very secure with who I am, and I like who I am. But as soon as someone comes in the picture and I'm oh, I like you, I start questioning everything about myself. I'm oh my god, who am I? I know who I am, but I'm oh my god, what do I like? What am I start to question everything about my life. I'm oh my god, I'm embarrassed to tell them about everything. I'm also such a bad texter. I don't know how to flirt. I don't know how to I mean, I do know how to flirt in person. Don't get me wrong. If you give me a couple shots of something, honestly, if I'm not attracted to you, I will flirt with you so much. And then I'm oops. Oh, and then as soon as I find someone attractive, I'm oh, what? A little water break? Yeah, I just think I always think it's so funny that I'm still single and I'm 25. But I think I'm just laughing because I'm actually really worried. I say I'm oh, I'm fine, but I'm starting to get worried, guys. I'm turning 26 this year and I haven't been with anyone. Also, when people find out that I'm single and I've never been with anyone ever like that, they're whoa, what is wrong with you? Are you okay? And I'm No. Maybe there is something wrong with me. I'm like, am I too much? But also, like, you'll never be too much for the right person. Like, the least interesting thing about me is the fact that I'm single, but somehow I find that people think that that's the most interesting thing about me is that I'm single and that I've never been with anyone and that my lack of dating experience. I'm like, guys, I have so many other things interesting about me, but you're worried about my dating life, which I find is weird. But I guess, like, it's a very people always say to me it's like a rare thing to like find people that I've never, but I think it's pretty common now. Like a lot of like people I know have never been in relationships. And you know why? This generation sucks. Like it actually sucks and like people are horrible. So I understand why everyone's single. But even like the guys are struggling out here. Like I talk to like my brother's friends and they're like, it's so rough out here. I know why I'm single, but then I'm like, all of you men think the same. Like, it's all lust. I'm like, this is why you're single. Like, I don't know. For me, I just, like, the last thing I care about is, like, physical intimacy. Like, that's, like, the least of my worries, honestly. I think, like, the main thing for me is, like, emotionally. But also, like, women are very, like, emotionally, like, that's, like, their thing. Like, they're also, that's why we are intellectually more mature, I think, than men. You can say what you want, but it's true. Well, for the most part anyways. But yeah, I just like, I'm like, you guys, like, this is why, like, all you care about is like that. I'm like, why? Who cares? There's so many more interesting things about people that I'm like, that I literally, like, don't get me wrong. Of course you have to be attracted to someone, but they're like everything else is like the least interesting. There's so many things about people that make them what makes them who they are. I'm like, that makes things so interesting. Like that's so like exciting to find out what this person is like made of, what like their background is, like what makes them who they are. But like other people don't care about that, which is very, that's why I'm like, this is why I'm single, because I'm like, you don't actually care about me as a person and you are concerned about everything else except for, you know, me. Like what makes me. Guys, everyone just like, ugh, I get the ick so fast. And I'm like, also I get the ick from myself because I'm like, girl, why are you acting like this? Like it's literally not that serious. Also, it's just a man. Like, no. So sometimes I have to put myself in check and I'm like, you're that bitch. Don't be like, girl, don't worry about these guys. Like, honestly, who cares? Also, like, there's so many things more important in life than finding a boyfriend. But also, like, when you're in your 20s and you've never experienced love, it can be so isolating and so depressing. And also, it really messes with, like your mind and stuff. And I say this is, like, and I've had so many people, like, I've seen so many things about this too. It's just, like, it really makes you question, like, your self-worth. Like, no matter how secure you are with yourself, it makes you really question, like, oh my god, well, something wrong with me. And it's so, like, annoying to say that because it's like you don't need someone to, like, determine your value and everything, but it really does, like, it just kind of, like, warps your, like, mind and, like, how, like, you see yourself and, like, oh, do I need to change this about me for someone to love me? But it's like, you shouldn't have to, because someone will love you the way you are. See, when I have conversations like this, obviously I'm talking to you guys, but like I'm talking to myself. I'm like, oh, I wish I could just talk to, like, this is like the conversations I want to have with like a person. And like, obviously it's like very deep. Like, you're not going to get into this like right away. But I just like, I hate small talk with people. And I'm just like, oh, I just want to, like, know everything about you. And, again, like, all your secrets. Me, I'm like, tell me everything. Well, I guess we'll get into, like, what's on my list for, like, the guy that I... Also, guys, I find it so hard now to find a guy that, like, takes off certain things off, because there's certain, like, deal breakers for me that I, like, need in a partner. And, like, if you can't do this, I'm like, oh, like, I just don't think I can be with you. And it's more, like their moral compass. Like, I feel like people, like, again, people lack humanity now, and it's crazy. I'm just like, oh my god, like, none of the, like, I'm like, you have no empathy, no sympathy, nothing. Like, how are you living life like this and just, like, don't have a care in the world? It's crazy to me. But yeah, I guess the things on my list, like, these are, like, some of these aren't deal breakers, some of them are, but, like, I want someone who's family oriented and just, like, has good values. Also, just, like, someone who I'm able to like have a soft side with. Like I don't want to have my guard up all the time. Guys, I'm already like I always say this, I'm like I have already masculine energy. I need to be in my soft girl era. I just want to be able to turn my brain off and not be on edge all the time, but I am. Like I'm on high alert and I just like don't, yeah, I'm, and also I have this mindset where I'm like I don't need a man because I can literally do everything myself, and if I can't, then I'm like I'm very fortunate to have like my dad, which he like him and my mom really raised like my siblings and I like to like be very independent and like not depend on anyone, and like my dad really like implicated that in my life, like to be very independent and just like be my own person and like not to depend on a man, which I'm so grateful for. And like if I do, then I can like rely on my dad, which is I'm so grateful for. But it also has made it because then I'm like, oh my god, I can do everything myself, that when a man can't do it, I literally get the ick, you guys. Like I'm like I know how to fix cars, I know to change my tires, I know like I like my obviously like I'm very like mechanically into, like my dad has taught me all these things. Like he works on cars, I work on them with him, and motorcycles and stuff, and like even house stuff I know how to do. So for me, I'm like, oh my god, if a man doesn't know how to do that and I have to change his tire, oh, I'm gonna get the ick. Like I like guys, when I'm like I know how to do all these things, and obviously it's a very rare thing for like people to just know in general now. But oh no, if I know how to change a tire and you don't, and oh my god, like I feel like that I'm like, am I really picky? Now, yes, I am very picky, but also I would rather pick the right person and wait longer than choose the wrong person and then it end up like being like I would rather wait and it be the right person hopefully than rush and me like be like, oh my god, I wish I never like was with this person. Because I already have regrets from people I've talked to, and we never even dated. But yeah, I just like, I don't know, guys. I'm just like, oh, like I'm more manly than you. I swear, like the guys nowadays, they're in their girl era, they're in their princess era. I'm like, what is going on? You guys just want to, and don't get me wrong, everyone should be treated like someone loves them. Like everyone should be treated like very respectfully, and honestly everyone should be treated loved. But it gets to a point where it's like, okay, sometimes you have to put your pants on, your big boy pants on, and you know, sometimes you just, yeah. So I just sometimes I'm like, I'm supposed to ask you out? What is going on? What happened to, you know, bringing flowers on the first date, knocking on the door, you know, opening card. Also, that is the bare minimum. Men cannot even do the bare minimum now, and you expect me to go out with you? That's crazy. Yeah, guys, I'm just like, ugh. I just get, I'm like, I'm like, oh my god, what am I supposed, and that's honestly partially why I'm still single, is because I can do everything myself. So if you're not bringing something to the table that I cannot do, then I'm like, oh, you gotta go. Which sounds so bad, but it's just like, I just don't have the energy and time to be like babying a grown man, especially like at my age. I'm like, okay, you should know. And again, like my dad has taught me to be like, be independent. If he doesn't treat you like this, then on to the next, which I'm so grateful for. But damn, my standards are high now. Like, yeah, that. And also like how you treat people is like a really big thing for me. I feel like people, like, again, like I said, people just like are so mean nowadays. I'm like, it takes $0 to be a nice person. It costs nothing. Like it literally is nothing to be just a nice person and like just be a decent human being, but clearly people find it so difficult. But yeah, those are like honestly my main things. It's just like good values, like, and a good person, and like how you treat others, and obviously how you treat me. Well, but the thing is, how you treat others, it's gonna show me like how you would treat me. Well, that's how I see it anyways. So yeah, I just like I don't have a lot on my list, but like obviously like if you don't have these things, like those are like my main things that I'm like, okay, you need to like have. And if you don't know how to fix car stuff, listen, I'll throw you in the garage with my dad for like a month. You better figure that shit out real quick. Maybe am I like, oh, am I like too much? Listen, I don't really care. If I have to stay single and do everything on my own, it is what it is. Like, I would rather be single than deal with someone who doesn't know how to love me right. And I will stand by that because no, just absolutely not. Yeah, I guess that's like really just like those are the things that's on my list. Also, like, you know, if you're like over 6 foot, that's pretty nice too. And if you have like dark brown hair, and you know, if you're, yeah, I have added like some new things to like my list, which is kind of like I need, like, for me it's like I have a really big habit of like going to the gym now, and it has like become this regimen in my, like, it's just like this thing in my life where I'm like I have to do it, and I just can't see myself being with someone who isn't like active like me, because for me I feel like also the habits in your life and people that surround you have a big impact on you. So like I need someone who's gonna like help me be a better person and be like a healthy version of myself, and like who's gonna like, you know, I just want someone, you don't need to do all that I'm doing, but like at least support me, man. So those are like my big things. Yeah, that's kind of like one of those things that I was like thinking about. Also, I've like I never used to understand it before. I was like, oh, like, why do you need someone who's like in the gym too? Like, why does it matter if they're physically active or not? But then I started going to the gym, and then I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. Like, I would need someone who's like physically active with me, just to like kind of keep me in place, because I have my own discipline, but when you're spending so much time with someone, their habits start to rub off on you. And so, like, I want someone who has healthy habits that we can, like, you know, join in together. Being in your 20s and being single is also, when your friends are all in relationships and you're the only single one, it is so, like, oh my God, it really makes you so sad. Like, I am so happy for my friends, and their significant others are, like, so lovely, and I just see the way they get treated, and it's just, like, I love that for them. I'm so happy for them, and, like, they honestly deserve the world and everything, but seeing it and then not having someone, like how they have someone, like, that's their go-to person, that's their best friend, that's their person, and then seeing that and then not having that, it's just like, oh my God, it, like, you feel like you're missing something, which, like, essentially, like, you are, like, I just feel like I have, like, a missing void in me, which sounds so stupid when I say it, but, like, also, like, I feel like I'm at the point in my life where it's, like, I have my life together, and I feel like I've waited so long, and, like, I have, like, my career going for me, and, like, I'm in a good place in my mind and, like, in my life and with, like, the people in my life, and I'm really happy with where I am. It's like that. It's like I had these, obviously life doesn't go the way you plan it, but, like, I feel like I'm, like, at the place where I'm actually, like, ready for a relationship, which I never, like, honestly thought I was before. I just don't think I was, like, emotionally mature enough for a relationship. Like, I'm so glad I didn't date in high school, because looking back, I was so childish, which you are in high school. Like, you don't know what the hell you're doing. Like, but, like, now I'm like, okay, I'm 25. Like I said, I just have, like, everything, like, set in my life, and, like, that, I feel like that's, like, the next step. So, like, for me, it's like, ugh, I'm trying not to think about it, but it's like I'm so, like, lonely that it's like that's what I want. Like, you want a companion, and, like, someone, you want a best friend, and, like, you want what your friends have, because, like, you see them and you see that they're so happy. And then also when the weekends come by, you guys, I'm like, do I want a boyfriend, or am I just bored? I always think this. Please tell me I'm not the only one who thinks this. But, like during even oh my God, the holidays and the summer are actually the hardest being single, because, like, guys, oh my God, this last winter was so brutal. First of all, I already have seasonal depression. I have all year depression, but, like, seasonal just hits ya. And then with the holidays, and then you're like, your friends are like, oh, I'm gonna go do this, like, coupley thing, and you're like, have fun. They're like, what are you doing? And you're like, nothing, I'm home for the whole weekend. And it's like this every weekend. But yeah, I'm like, oh my God, I want to go to the movies. I want to go on, like, fall pumpkin dates, and I want to have a New Year's kiss, and, like, spend the New Year's and Christmas and stuff with, like, my boyfriend, whatever. But unfortunately, no, it didn't happen. But yeah, when you see all your friends, like, really happy and in love, it just is like, oh, I want that. Like, I want someone, because, like, obviously I don't know. It's just like, it's very frustrating to like be the only single one. And also, I'm the oldest out of all my friends. So like being the oldest and having the least amount of like dating experience and not having a boyfriend, it's really just like, oh my God, okay, and it makes me feel like I'm doing something wrong with my life. And I mean, maybe I am, but also I just feel like maybe it's not the time. But then I'm like, well, I'm ready for it. Like, I feel like I'm ready for it. Like, I don't know. I'm always like thinking, I'm like, oh, the love of my life is really praying for me right now. I'm like, they are praying that I stay single and that I'm never with someone. And that I'm like, hurry up though, because I don't know how long I can take. But I'm like, they're praying for me. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're putting some spell on me to stay single? Excuse me. Let me live my life a little bit. But you know, it's just like, yeah, it's very lonely, but I would rather be alone than like be with someone and feel alone, if that makes sense. Because like, so many people are in relationships and they're so unhappy. So like, if I'm able to like fill my cup some more, I'm like, how much filling can I do? I feel like I'm overfilling it. It gets to a point, and like, obviously some days are worse than others where I'm like, oh my God, like, this is so frustrating. But I feel like that's normal. Like, it is normal, and we're not, like, I know I'm not the only one who thinks this way. Like, I know it. Also, I feel like I'm too much of a hopeless romantic where I'm like, yeah, I wear my heart on my sleeve. Like, I always say, like, I'm an all in or none type of girl, which is, like, such a dangerous, like, thing to have. Because when I like someone, I'm like, guys, I don't understand how people have a roster. Like, I never understood it. Like, oh my God, I wish I could have one. Like, I wish I could talk to multiple people at once. But first of all, I feel guilty when I talk to more than one person. Second of all, oh my God, I don't even have the energy to talk to one person, let alone 3. Like, are you kidding me? No, I can only talk to one person at a time. Like, and when I like someone, like, they are the only person. Like, I am not a multiple, like, dude type of girl. Like, I just like one person and that's it. Like, I can't do the multiple talking stages. I don't have it in me. I barely have it in me to have one talking stage. You want me to have multiple? Oh my God, I'm supposed to tell 3 guys my favorite color? Also, I hate talking stages. They make me so anxious. And like, also just like the idea of getting to know someone new, I'm like, oh my God, they're also, I mean, I don't care how people perceive me, but like, to an extent, we all do. Like, I don't care what anyone says. We all care what someone thinks about us. And I'm like, oh my God, what are they thinking of me? Like, when you first get to know me, I'm so awkward and weird, and I'm not my true self, and like, I'm just like, this is not me. I swear I'm not this shy person. Just give me 5 to 10 business days. Okay, maybe a little bit longer than that, but I'm like, I swear. Also, you need to get used to me. I'm like such a like I'm all over the place, that like, if you don't match my energy, I feed off of people's energy too. So if I feel you like being like, ugh, I'm gonna like give you the same energy back. But like, if you're like I'm also naturally a very high energy person. But again, I have a social battery that drains so quickly. And I'm like, okay, I'm done with it. But also, like, the good morning texts make me want to vomit. I'm sorry. Good morning. How was your day? Did you eat today? Ugh, please give me a break. I haven't done that in like a really long time. But oh my God, no. I hate that stuff. I'm like, ugh. But then like, when you're actually dating someone, I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to care like that. But I guess it comes naturally. Like, you actually genuinely want to know. But like, right now, I'm like, ew, I don't want to ask you that. I actually don't care how your day was. I'm like, I don't care how you slept, and I don't care if you ate. You're grown. You should know how to do all those things. Oh, that's so funny. Oh my God. Maybe I definitely am the problem, but it's totally okay. I'm fine with being the problem. See, I need conversations like this because, like, I was really crashing out this past week. So, like, this makes me feel better about me talking about my issues. And then I'm like, oh, let me hold accountability. I am the issue. I definitely am. But like I said, guys, I'm so bad at texting. I also don't. Like, I feel like because, like, I'm so inexperienced that, like, I think things are, like, normal and they're fine. And then my friends will be like, you did not just send that. Like, they're like, Brooke, no. And I'm like, what do you mean? It's just like a normal text. They're like, no, that didn't sound right. And I was like, oh, well, sorry, my bad. And then I start overthinking it, and then I'm like, oh my God. Like, I just need to not Also, my brain is just wired where I'm like, I overthink everything, and I have to, like, always be, like, I'm always, like, overthinking everything already, and then add someone I like and I'm interested in. Oh my God, it's, like, a mess. It's actually, like, a mess in my brain 24/7, and then it just... After that, that's why I crash out so easily. And then I'm like, I'm also such a sensitive person. People don't realize this, that I'm so sensitive. Like, my family obviously knows this because, like, they see me crying all the time. But I'm so sensitive, and literally everything affects me. Like, I pretend it doesn't, but then I'm like, the next, like, literally, like, 2 hours later, I'm like, I'm so sad. Like, how? Like, I actually need help. But also, whatever. Like, I'm a Cancer. Leave me alone. I'm emotional. I'm sensitive. I cry a lot. Like, yeah. But yeah, you guys are always asking me if I'm seeing someone, and no, I'm not. I wish I was. I wish. Also, I don't know. I always think I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how it would be if I'm in a relationship because I've never been in one. I always think about that. I'm like, how will I be? Am I gonna be? I know though I'll be a good girlfriend. I do know that, but like also like, oh my God, how am I gonna act? Like thinking about that kind of grosses me out because like, ugh. Just, like, that means I'm gonna be, like, really interested in them for me to, like, I mean, obviously, but I'm like, oh, I think I'm, like, a little bit too hyper-independent where I'm, like, I don't need you, I don't care, I can do everything by myself, and, like, whatever, but then I'm, like, oh, but I don't want to do it myself. Me, I'm like, I can do it, but see, the thing is, that's my issue, is, like, I'm like, I can do it, but, like, if I'm with someone, why would I do it if you can? Like, I think that's where I'm at. I'm like, I can do it, but, like, I don't want to do it, so we're gonna manifest that someone comes into my life. Guys, I actually hate like having to put effort in, like, initially. I'm just like, this is so tiring. Like, I'm already a tired person and now I have to put more effort in. Also, I hate texting and I hate having to read in between the lines because when you're first talking to someone, you don't know them and you don't like know like their habits and like how they read into things. So it's like, I'm like, oh, you're kind of treading water here a little bit. I hate that. I just want to like be able to be myself and like not have to worry about what I'm saying to you. But unfortunately, that's not the reality. We have to be aware, but I don't want to be. We're doing okay. We're just doing okay. Also, movies have really like I'm like, this is not how love is. Like, no, they're not. Like, he's not going to show up on my door. And I feel like also, I don't leave my house enough. I know I don't leave my house enough. And my friends tell me this all the time. But where am I supposed to go? Like, genuinely, what am I supposed to do? The only time I leave my house is to go to the gym. And that hasn't gotten me anywhere. Yeah, we're not talking about that. No. But yeah, the only place I go is to the gym. I really rarely leave my house, to be honest. I'm inside most of the time. And if I go out, I'm like with my friends and I'm just like I'm not looking for anything. Also, I feel pressured sometimes by like the people around me because they're like, oh, like I want you to find love. And I love that they want me to find love. But it also like makes me feel sad because it's like I'm trying and like there's only so much I can do. And also like I just don't, like, I always say if they wanted to, they would, like, and I truly believe that, whether it's a guy or a girl, like, if someone is interested in you, they're gonna show that they're interested in you. Like, what happened to, like, you know, longing and really just, guys, I miss when men actually used to like put the effort in, which I wasn't really me. I'm like, I never saw it, but like I hear stories about it and I'm like, well, men aren't like that. This is 2025. Also, guys, I'm telling you, social media makes dating so hard nowadays. Like, I actually hate it. And it also, being someone who's in the social media, like, I guess, area, it makes it very hard because then people I've noticed that I hate the conversation of, oh, what do you do for like work? Because when that comes up and I'm like contemplating, I'm like, do I tell them what I do? Do I not tell them what I do? Because like I always get like the same reaction, which I hate because I'm just like, it starts to pique their interest a little too much and I don't like it. And I like to keep my like I just like to keep my social media private with who I'm talking to, and they just find it interesting, which of course it's not an everyday job, like it's very rare you see someone, but it's just like they become like very like just too invested in it. I'm like, I don't like that. So I find it harder for me to date. Also, most people like meet through mutual friends and like or like through work and all that. And like I work from home, okay? My friends, all of them are in relationships and like they're also just like not my type. Like my friends, guy friends aren't my type. Like they just like I could never date them. Like I just don't. Even like my like just guys, the people that I've met, I'm just like I can't. Like I actually genuinely can't. I just yeah, like I'm not interacting. I don't have online friends to like introduce me to people. Like it's very isolating. So like for me, I'm in a very like I'm in a very weird spot and like I'm so grateful and blessed, but it makes it a lot harder for me to meet people. And I feel like people don't really realize this. But I mean, it's interesting. It definitely keeps my life. I feel like I'm also in such like a peaceful, calm moment in my life. So then when something happens and I'm like, what? It actually throws me off guard. And then I actually, like, I've been crashing out a little bit more than normal. But yeah, it's very interesting being single in your 20s, but it's even extra when you've never had any dating experience. It's very weird. I also don't like talking about it with people, like, that I'm, like, trying to get to know. And somehow that subject comes like especially when they're like, oh, can I follow your social media? I'm like, no, 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 you cannot, because then they start stalking it and then they're like, oh, well, I see you haven't been with anyone, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't want to have this conversation. Yeah, I needed to rant a little bit because I've been really just in my head lately about everything, but that's fine. It's fine. If I'm in my you know what? It's better than we you can clearly tell I'm really in a state of mind that's not great. Oh, that's so funny. Anyways, but that was that. I hope you guys liked it. If you guys want me to do like more videos like this, definitely let me know. Maybe I haven't done like a sit down video like this since like with Braxton, which you guys seem to like. You like also Braxton's such a private person though, so like me, I like to expose myself and he likes to keep things pretty private, which is funny. But that was today's video. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you like me, subscribe down below. Also, if you guys want to follow me on my Instagram and TikTok, it is Brooke Alicia. Like I said, you get the insider and like scoop on there. So definitely follow me on there. You'll see more of my public life on there because I feel like YouTube, I like share small bits and pieces of my like actual life, and then the rest is just like not. But yeah, I love y'all. Don't forget to love yourself. Until next time, I'll see y'all later. Peace out, scouts. Bye.